Blake Griffin was supposed to be out 6 to 8 weeks. It is week 6. What does that mean for fantasy owners? This is Fantasy Hoops. I'm Shehadi alongside fantasy basketball writer Sergio Gonzalez. We know that knee has been bothering him. Are they starting him up or are they waiting and seeing?
Yeah, there hadn't been a lot of news about Blake Griffin coming into the week, which is a little bit concerning, especially because it was coming up on the timetable of when he was supposed to return. But Coach Mike Dunleavy actually went out and said that he's probably not expecting him to come back until after the new year. Fantasy owners shouldn't count on him. As for Chris Paul, you see there, it looks like he's getting close. He had his walking boot removed this week and he's beginning to work out. He could be back at some point in week 7, but he'll be too risky to play unless the Hornets come out and say that he's ready to go.
All right, fantasy owners crossing their fingers on all of those, and they're crossing their fingers on Kevin Love as well, but I have a question because he's on your injured list, but he's also on your starters list.
Yeah, this one's a little bit tricky, but he's a player that could be back as soon as Friday. It sounds like he could return over the weekend. It sounds like he's actually a sure bet to return over the weekend. The Timberwolves have some really good matchups this week. They play against 3 teams that regularly allow over 100 points per game. Monitor him over the weekend, but if he's not too limited, it's a good week to go ahead and activate him.
All right, Serge, we've spoken in earlier videos about Gooden and Ilyasova about how they're good options when their starters are injured, but when their starters aren't injured and they're back, what do we do with them then? Do we hang on to them?
It looks like their run of fantasy dominance has come to an end, unfortunately. Ilyasova and Gooden actually had a couple of good games earlier in the week, but on Wednesday they both had some clunkers, and it's starting to look like this could be a situation where they're talented players who can put up the numbers, but their roles just aren't there. So until fantasy owners see them start putting up those types of numbers on a consistent basis, I wouldn't rely on them.
All right, I'm relying on Anthony Morrow. He is my guy because he can shoot beyond the arc. Oh my goodness, he's incredible. He just keeps piling them on.
Yeah, he's completely on fire right now. He's actually been averaging around 19 points over his last 5 games. And due to the injuries in Golden State, he's actually been playing some small forward. He's getting some rebounds to go along with that 3-point shooting that you were talking about. He's getting some good minutes, around 35 minutes per game, so take advantage of that with the Golden State Warriors playing a 4-game week.
And he's getting all sorts of steals. Yay, I'm all fired up. Fantasy owners are fired up about Allen Iverson, and so are 76ers fans. But should you be fired up just yet?
Not yet, fantasy owners. I'm going to say you should be a little bit patient. Obviously, he's going to be playing with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. He's going to be playing against 2 of his former teams this week. But in a situation where we aren't sure exactly how the long layoff is going to affect him and exactly what kind of role he's going to be having in Philadelphia, we think you should go ahead and play it safe. Observe him this week, and then see what you want to do from then on.
Don't you just hate playing it safe? You're like, oh, I want to get him in there, right? It's always imperative as a fantasy owner that you take a look at the matchup. Kendrick Perkins is a guy who's been scoring. He's been scoring quietly for Boston, but do you like his matchups?
Yeah, I do actually like his matchups. He does play just 3 games, but the matchups are actually pretty good. And in most leagues where it's hard to find number 2 centers, Kendrick Perkins has been putting up great numbers. He had 21 points and 12 rebounds this week against Charlotte, who's actually one of the better defensive teams in the league. So go ahead and start him. I've been a little bit hesitant on Kendrick Perkins, but the way he's been putting up numbers lately, you just can't go against that.
Hesitant no more. Just 2 games for the Clippers. Marcus Camby, Chris Kaman. What does it mean for them?
It's probably a safe bet to sit both players in cumulative formats. If you're in an average-based league, obviously it's not much of a problem. But if you're in a cumulative format, players like Kaman and Camby are going to be tough sells this week because of the fact that they're playing just the 2 games. Even with Camby averaging around 15 rebounds in the last 5 games or so, if you're counting on him to put up around that type of production, you're probably trying to catch lightning in a bottle.
Oh, wow. I'm trying to get those injured guys on that first list to come back. I know you guys are as well. Hang on and stay tuned to the site for all of the information. For Sergio Gonzalez, I'm Shehadi. We'll talk to you soon.